Hello, my friends. It's Wednesday, 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So it's lifetime. And today we're going to be talking about starseeds, which is a totally fascinating topic, in my humble opinion. So, like I said, starseeds are old souls who come from different planets, galaxies, and other realms of existence. But what distinguishes star seeds from us is the level of advancement that they're at. Star seeds are pretty light years ahead in terms of evolution of consciousness, but specifically evolution of technology and science. And what star seeds do is they come into planet Earth to assist humanity and the planet in the shift to consciousness into its own evolution. Now, after saying that, I have to do a disclaimer because I consider myself a star seed, but I don't consider myself as being light years ahead in evolution of consciousness and science and technology. My soul is, but not me, Yari, the human being. Okay. I'm just a regular person like everybody else. Okay. All right. There's my disclaimer. Now, the majority of star seeds are benevolent. They're not all benevolent, but for the purposes of today, I'm only going to be talking about the benevolent star seeds because those are the ones that we really need to focus on the most, because the idea is for you to be able to find yourself in a type of star seed. Okay. That's the same reason I don't talk about demons or demonic forces. Um, First, because I don't like those terms because they have very religious implications. So I try to stay away from that. For me, there's higher vibration beings and lower vibration beings. Okay. And I also believe that where focus go, energy follows. So if I'm focusing on demons or the devil or lower vibration energies or non-benevolent star seeds, I'm going to attract them to me. So I just ignore them. I know they're there. I protect myself every day, not out of fear. It's out of common sense. Like you would use your seatbelt every day when you go driving. It's common sense. It's not out of fear. Okay. So I protect my energy. I clean it and protect it every day, not out of fear, out of protection, out of common sense, because that's what you do. And I know that those beings are there, that I may encounter them, uh, but I don't pay attention to them because I don't want to call their energy towards mine. Okay. All right. So star seeds are here to help. And even the ones that are not here to help, they really don't bother much, especially when people like you and I are awake, when people wake up, because when you're awake, you can feel the negativity in other people. You can feel the low vibration of other people, and you tend to repel that. Okay. Easy enough. Now, star seeds have chosen to have a human experience to help humanity. Star seeds are residents of higher dimensions that specifically incarnated into human physical experience with intention to help raise the collective consciousness of humanity. Those that identify with the term starseed are not immune to the human experience in any way. We're still going to have our own trials and tribulations, their own life challenges, along with their own karma and healing journey. Okay, that needs to be completed, as well as you need overarching themes that are specific to our own growth and spiritual journey. Okay. There are so many of us here at this time, Starseeds, I mean, that it's really not even a special club anymore. All people need to do to be able to identify whether or not they feel like they're starseed is to look within and examine whether they feel a very strong mission, a very strong purpose towards being able to help heal the earth, as well as raise the collective consciousness and vibration. So, of course, this list is not exhaustive by any stretch of the imagination, but I'm going to give you some of the top signs of a starseed. Okay. And then I'm going to give you just a handful of the most common species of starseeds because there are hundreds and you can go down that rabbit hole on your own. When I first started researching for my own, there was not so much out there. But nowadays, there's tons of stuff. There are quizzes out there that you can take, and it will give you, tell you that you're this species or that species. I'm not gonna tell you not to take the quizzes. It's fun. It's something fun to do. So go ahead, do it if you feel called to do it. But to me, the most important is to use your intuition. When you're reading the description of the different species, there's one that's gonna be like, that's it. That is gonna call to you. So it doesn't matter what the quizzes say. If you're like, I'm not sure about that, don't, go for what really calls to you because you're going to feel it. At least that was my experience. It was very, very strong. So the first sign, and this is probably the most popular, is what I have encountered the most, is like feeling that you don't belong. A lot of starseeds that I've contacted with this is the number one thing that they say is feeling of being out of place. That it's just that they don't fit. They don't fit. They feel that they don't belong, that they feel like an outsider, even in their own family. People are like, I'm like the black sheep of my family. I remember, and not as a child, but as a very young teenager, maybe even a tween. So I don't know, 11, 12, something like that, telling people that I was born in the wrong family. I remember that very clearly. Okay. So people don't feel like they belong in their own family. They're completely different from the rest of their siblings, from their parents. In terms of personality, in terms of view of the world, view of life, you remember that movie Matilda? She is completely different from her family. Like they all were cheaters and liars, and she had this, great sense of the right thing to do, and she loved books, and they only wanted to watch TV. Her dad thought that reading was trash, whatever, stuff like that. That you're like, where did I come from? Am I adopted? Because I'm just like, you know, um, a lot of times, even thinking that you don't even look like your family. Okay. And this is normal because you're a starseed, so you're not from here. You're coming from a different place. Also, the sensation that not belonging is very common, because a lot of people feel homesick even when they're home. It's like, I'm homesick, but I'm home. But I want to go home, but I'm home. Um, it's really hard to explain because it's just a feeling, and that along with being in discomfort in your own body, in your own avatar. It's very common. And not because, not when you have an actual reason, like if you have a disability or if you have um, an illness, you're in pain, you're really overweight or you're underweight, when you have an actual reason for not feeling comfortable in your body, that's one thing. But not that. Just feeling uncomfortable, it's like you don't feel comfortable in your own skin. That happens when you have a lot of incarnations in other realms, other planets, not on Earth, because Earth is very dense. The energy is very dense. The 3D is really dense. So when you have a lot of incarnations in higher dimensions, that is lighter and that is like freer, like people like almost or levitate, or just the density is less. All of a sudden you feel constricted in this incarnation, in this avatar, okay, because we're so dense. So when a starseed awakens, their awakening process can be very quick. The changes can be very, very, very fast. So the transformation, when you start the spiritual path, there's so many things that change. And some people can change very steadily, but within a long period of time. And some people just go like really fast. If you go really, really fast, that may be one of the signs that you are a starseed, because they change faster than a non-starseed. So they go through processes of ascension and acceleration that are much faster than regular humans. And that's precisely because the starseed comes already like imbued with a very accelerated energy system, because you've had that before, okay? When they're awakened and they find out that they're a starseed, then the transformation goes even faster. Okay, it's like a light bulb goes off, and something that held you back, all of a sudden in your brain, like you make that switch that, oh, I'm a starseed. So it's almost like giving yourself permission to go even faster. So another sign is memories of other planets. Sometimes starseed can be meditating and they can have visions from where they come from, or they have dreams, very detailed dreams of different locations, um, of completely different planets, in places totally different from the Earth. This is very common. Now, I have to say that it's not planets like we see on television and on movies. So it's not, what we think about a different planet is like Earth, but on steroids, like so much better, so much greener. The colors are more vivid, and because the vibration is also higher, we're lighter on our feet, and like we communicate with spirit easily, like we communicate with each other now. There's much less negativity, if any. There's no lying or cheating. Communication with animals, you can go underwater and breathe and live underwater, so it's like Earth, but way better. Okay, and I'll tell you a personal story. The first time I heard of the term starseed, it triggered something in me. I don't know if I'm able to describe it better than just the fact that there was something that I knew I needed to learn more about. It was like, I really need to know about this. So I became obsessed, Googling the term and finding YouTube videos. And this was before TikTok. So I thankfully did not have to go down that rabbit hole. But anyhow, all the information that I found, let me feeling like I'm not sure. I knew I was a starseed, but all the descriptions and the quizzes that led me to believe I was this or that, I was like, I'm just not sure. Um, then one day I was listening to a video on YouTube, and I've been thinking about finding this, but I don't know if I'm going to be able to or not because it was in the middle of a tarot reading. So it was not about star seeds. It was not about anything like that. It was a regular tarot reading, and the person said something about Lemurian crystals. And I remember exactly that moment when it happened. I was cleaning my bathroom, and she said Lemuria, and I just stopped and almost like froze in time. And I heard myself say, that's it. I mean, there was a physical recognition of just the word, and my body reacted like, boom, that's it. Even before she said anything about Lemuria, just the name, and I hadn't heard that before, that triggered something very physical in my body. And then she started describing people from Lemuria, and I remember looking around like, she's talking about me. Like, what is happening? Like, I started looking around like I was gonna find something in my bathroom while I was cleaning it. But it was very bizarre, but it was just really bizarre because I felt like she was talking about me, specifically about me. So I started looking for more videos specifically about Lemuria. Um, and I found another video that discussed the technology that Lemurian had developed, and it was like deja vu. And it was like when somebody asks you about something and you're like, I don't know, I'm not sure. But when they start describing it, you're like, yeah. I know exactly. So it's not that I could describe the technology, but as they talk, I was like, yep, I know exactly what they're talking about. Really weird, really weird. So, um, anyhow, star seeds sometimes, when in meditation or dreams or just regular life walking around, they can remember um, details of where they come from, uh, places that are completely different, even a different galaxy. Another common sign is looking up at the sky, especially when they're children. And this is very common. This is very common. A lot of times people talk about their childhood and they say, when I was a little girl, a little boy, I was a little bit of a loner, and I just stood in front of the window and look up at the sky. I just like to look at the stars. Um, if you ask for a telescope, and you were just waiting for shooting stars, and all of that kind of stuff, you became obsessed with astrology, with ETs, anything that had to do with the stars. That's a very, very common sign of star seeds. um, the other sign is that you're very sensitive. And if you're watching this, you most likely are very sensitive. The majority of star seeds are what's known as empath and or HSPs. And I have another video that I talk about the difference between empath and HSPs. HSPs, highly sensitive people. And they have to be sensitive because they come prepared. Their sensitivity it's used to help the transition of all the things that they're trying to help down here in the planet Earth. So if you're an empath or an HSP, that's another sign that you might be a star seed sign, a star seed. There's also another sign is a sense of purpose. The majority of star seeds are wanting to help humanity. So they have this really strong sense of purpose that will drive their lives, especially after awakening. Um, so, they go after that. They want to walk towards their life purpose. They want to walk towards that mission. They're very focused. Sometimes they're like, I want to help people, I just don't know how. And they become obsessed into finding that how, because they have this intrinsic need to help humanity or help others. And that's because we're programmed to help. And so that's their mission. Their soul, just like all of us, um, our soul decided on this life, on this avatar, on this family, on these circumstances, on this specific time for a reason. Starseeds decide all of those things to help humanity. So they're already programmed. That's the life path. That's the plan to help humanity. So that sense of purpose kind of like increases even more, especially after they awaken. They also feel like an old soul, and that's really hard to describe. It's just like, this is not my first rodeo. Like, I've been around the block a couple times. It's just a feeling more than anything else. They're also very smart. They have a lot of wisdom that goes beyond their years because they come from a more advanced civilization. Okay. And they have reincarnated in many different realities and in many different planes of existence. So they have this feeling about being an old soul. And the last sign that I've encountered the most in working with all the people that I've worked with is they seek to expand. They have this need to grow, to expand, to be better, because their energy moves so quickly. So they're constantly looking to learn. They're voracious students. They love to learn new things. They love to expand. They love to grow. They love to develop themselves. This drive to expand is really embedded in a starseed. So I'm going to talk about just a handful of species because there's, like I said, hundreds, and you can go down that rabbit hole. So there are hundreds of starseeds, and I'm just going to name a few, the most common that we hear about. Now, starseeds, like humans, cannot say that they're 100% from one place, okay? Because we have migrated so much that we're not just from one place, right? So, for example, is somebody that says that is Puerto Rican, like me. We know, based in the history of Puerto Rico, that we have indigenous people called the Taínos, and then the Spaniards that came to colonize the island and brought with them people from Africa. And they immediately started mixing all together. So a Puerto Rican has at minimum those three, that mix of those three different kinds of people in their genetic mix. So if I am from Puerto Rico, I am just as much from Africa as from Spain, as anybody else. Okay. And I identify as Puerto Rican because all my grandparents and my parents and myself were born in the island. So I identify as being Puerto Rican, but I could very well say that I'm from Africa or I'm from Spain, and I'll be just as right because I have that in my genetic mix. In the same way, many starseeds species have migrated at different points for different reasons. Sometimes because the planets were dying, so the entire species needed to move. But we also need to take into consideration different incarnations. So we all have lived in different places of the earth. We have been in different races. We have been in different planets. So there are some physical traits that we have today in this incarnation, but there is always going to be a place where we feel most comfortable for whatever reason. Okay. Like I have a friend who is not from the UK, she's North American, but she visited the UK and she completely felt like home. And she has made it her mission to move to London. And she's going to move in the next 3 months because there's a humongous calling for her to go home. And London has almost become home for her. So she wants to go study and she wants to live there for several years. So I cannot say that I'm 100% from Lemuria, but there was something about that incarnation, or it was maybe it was because it was many incarnations in Lemuria, but there was something about that made me very comfortable. So that's why I consider myself, in terms of starseed, of being from Lemuria, because I am sure I've had many, many incarnations, and who knows, you know, but that's where I feel more comfortable. There was something about it that made me feel that that's home for me. Okay. So that's why you're gonna, when you hear all the descriptions and when you read all the descriptions, whenever you go, and do more research on your own, you're gonna feel overlapping, and you're gonna say, well, this description, except this is me, but whatever. So, there's going to be a lot of overlapping. So Orion starseed. They are from the Orion constellation. So it's a group of stars. It's not just one star, it's a group of stars. They are very scientific. So if you're from Orion, you'll be interested in and intrigued in all things science and chemistry, astronomy, genetics. So all things science. Very intelligent, very driven by the brain, the mind, very mental, not emotional. They're here to learn how to love and express emotions. So they really here wanting to complement their brain and get more in tune with their feelings. They have a great sense of humor and they can be like the life of the party. Okay. The Arcturians are a type of star seed from the star of Arcturus in a place called the Boots constellation. And they are great public speakers. They're leaders in their community and workplaces. They're highly passionate about technology. They don't fear death. Sometimes they come off as arrogant or having a big ego. I remember one of the quizzes that I took told me that I was an Arcturian. And I'm like, yeah, you could say that, but I don't know. I'm sure I've been there. A very, very, very common and one that most people I know identify as is Palladian. And Palladians are a type of star seed from the Pleiades star system. And the Pleiades consist of many stars, but in particular, 7 very bright stars. Now, you will see several oracle cards referring to the seven sisters, and they are referring to these seven stars. Okay. I have a couple of oracle decks that have a card that's called the Seven Sisters. They're referring to Pleiadians. Okay. They're referring to the seven stars. Pleiadians are very gentle in nature. They're very soft-spoken and polite. They're humanitarians. They're very empathic. They feel and take on others' energies. They can transmute that energy when they are in alignment. Often they're very tall and slender, blonde, blue-eyed. Now, remember that you can be African American, very dark, and feel Palladian. It doesn't matter. This is, general rule. So many times they're tall, slender, blue-eyed, blonde, and may have a Northern European ancestry or DNA. Now, Draconian starseeds are from the Draco constellation. Draco means dragon, so therefore many Draconian starseeds are linked to dragons and reptiles and various kinds. Some includes the Greys and the reptilians. Remember, extraterrestrials, ETs, come from other planets and other stars. So they are starseeds too. All right. That's why in this list we include the Greys, which are, thought of as ETs. They're drawn to science, math, technology. They're leaders in their fields and in their communities. Don't take kindly authority higher than themselves. When they're not in alignment, they can be very money hungry and manipulative. When they are in alignment, and from a higher dimension, they want to unite people and work towards a common goal. Syrian starseeds in ancient Egypt and African tribes and other people have legends and connections with the star Sirius, and with good reason. It's one of the brightest star in the night sky. So if you're very drawn to lost civilizations and ancient cultures, you're drawn to the star system series. You have a love for dogs, wolves. They're the type of people that are very spiritual individuals and love to embrace anything that has to do with the earth. They're very even. They're hard to get anger. They're hard to get angry, but they don't express their emotions very well and have a hard time communicating in relationships and may seem kind of closed off. And last but not least, Lemurians. Lemurian was a land prospering with advanced technology and culture. They are said to be very committed to innovation during their time. Lemurian starseeds are believed to originate from the lost civilization of Lemuria. Lemurians are nature lovers with strong connections to Earth. So Lemurians, as I understand it, were based on Earth. Okay, there was this island called Lemuria in the Indian in the Pacific Ocean. It was like between Africa and Europe that disappear, very much like Atlantis, just kind of disappear. So they were different star seeds that came to Earth for the reason of helping the earth and humanity, and they stayed in this place, and then that land for some reason disappeared. Now there's very, very Asian maps that has that piece of land, but they are thought to have moved when, the island was disappearing, to the depth of Mount Shasta. And supposedly there's still a civilization today in 2024 that lives inside of Mount Shasta, inside of the mountain. So Lemurians had a deep sense, possessed a deep sense of nostalgia for a lost paradise, and a desire to create more harmonious relationships with humanity and nature. Lemurians are drawn to anything that allows them to connect with energies Earth. So those are the Lemurians. And people say they're still living. I don't know. I haven't seen them. I would love to go to Mount Shasta, but a lot of people have tried that and not found a way inside the middle of the mountain. So anyhow, I'm sure they have a big double doors and an arch saying, "Hey, here, the people from Lemuria." So anyhow, I think, and I think I read this or heard it on a podcast a long time ago, that they can, travel through time. And I mean, they're very advanced, so they don't need a door. They have portals where they can go like through the mountain in and out. So anyhow, very interesting. Everything about Starseeds. And so if you have any questions, please feel free to put it in the chat, in the group. I'm going to post this as soon as I have the recording available, which is usually within a few minutes of me finishing the live. Remember that I do this every single week, Wednesdays at 6 o'clock Eastern time. And if you have anything that you want me to discuss, please let me know. I'll be happy to do that. I want to teach you what you want to learn. So I rather do that. If not, I'll choose something and to discuss for all of us together. And thank you for being here. I enjoy it a whole lot. And take care. See you next week. Bye-bye.